Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the CTCL Virtual Days College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We're about to hear from representatives from St. Olaf College, who will be sharing a lot of great information with us about St. Olaf. So thanks for being here. Just a couple of announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type questions to our presenters at any time. And I really encourage you to take advantage of that. They would love to answer your questions about St. Olaf, about the application process, about college admission generally, about life at St. Olaf. Really anything about college admission is fair game there. So use that button, ask your questions, don't be shy. Your camera and microphone are turned off so the panelists can't see or hear you. So the Q&A function is really the best way or the only way to communicate. This is just one of many sessions happening as part of the CTCL virtual college fair. So be sure to sign up for some additional sessions. You can do that at the same place where you registered for this one. Also, this presentation is being recorded, as are all of the others. So in about a week, you could come back to the website if you wanted to revisit this presentation or check out some that you missed. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Jill from St. Olaf.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Jill Sauber. I'm one of the Associate Deans of Admission here at St. Olaf, and super excited to talk to you and share a little bit about the college. My history is that I grew up in Minnesota, graduated from St. Olaf, and then shortly thereafter started working in admissions. So I've been here for the better part of 20 years, which is amazing. It goes so fast. But I love the place, and I'm excited to share more about it with you. Cian, maybe I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming today. It's like a beautiful day, full day here in Minnesota, and we've had like 50 degrees, which is wonderful. I'm Cian Christie, and I teach in the Management Studies program here at St. Olaf College, and I've been at St. Olaf College for now 16 years, and so that to me it seems like such a long period of time, but it seems very short. So I'm originally from New Zealand, and so if you I'll try to speak slowly, because sometimes when I get excited I speed up too much, and I know unfortunately I can't see your faces because I usually get quizzical looks from my students when I know that I'm speaking too fast. So if I'm speaking too fast, just put it on the chat function, say slow down, Cian. But yeah, welcome today, and I hope we've got some exciting news for you about St. Olaf College.
So the format of this is such that I will speak generally about St. Olaf, share some information about the place, and then we will kind of turn it over into more of a panel type of a conversation. So I might throw some questions at Cian to answer from the professor perspective, but then certainly along the way we're excited to answer questions that you might have as well. We only have 45 minutes, so we're gonna get started. For those of you, I'm not sure where all of you are from, so I'm going to start with the kind of very big picture. St. Olaf College is located in Minnesota. Minnesota is in the upper Midwest of the United States. So we are located, Northfield is about 45 minutes south of Minneapolis and St. Paul, which are the Twin Cities. Minneapolis is where the International Airport is located, so we are only 45 minutes from the International Airport. So this is great for students who are living outside of Minnesota or outside of driving distance from the college. It's easily accessible. The Twin Cities are easily accessible. We think it's great to be a little bit removed because our students are not distracted by the big city. However, all of the opportunities that are in Minneapolis and St. Paul are easily accessible, as I mentioned. So we've got some of the highest per capita theater seating in Minneapolis and St. Paul, so lots of great cultural activities, concerts happening, sporting events. We also have a wonderful alumni network, and the biggest alumni network is located in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and our alums are passionate about St. Olaf and want to help our students, our current students, to be successful after graduation as well. So they we connect our alums with our current students through internships and job shadowing opportunities. So lots of great ways to take advantage of the Twin Cities. But Northfield and St. Olaf are, like I said, a little bit removed. And St. Olaf has about 3,000 students, and Northfield has about 20,000 people. Also in the town of Northfield. It's a quintessential college town because St. Olaf and Carleton College are both located in this great, really warm and charming town of Northfield. There's a good relationship between St. Olaf and Carleton, so some of our students will take advantage again of the cultural things and concerts and speakers going on either campus. We have some shared resources like our libraries. I know our student meal cards work in either dining hall, but generally there's a friendly rivalry between the two campuses, and I think that makes for a really great community of Northfield itself. I think the presence of each of these colleges makes us each better because we're constantly looking to the other to see how we can improve what we are doing. So again, each campus is pretty contained. Both are very residential. St. Olaf has 3,000 students, as I mentioned. 100% of our students are undergraduate students. So we do not have any grad programs, no grad students, which means that all of the opportunities that are here for you as an undergrad. 95% of our students live on campus all 4 years, and this is a really high number even for small private colleges, although this is a similar theme I think that you'll find among CTCL schools. But this is something that we feel pretty excited about and pretty, we place a lot of importance on that residential piece, and I think that's what really contributes to the community sense that we have.
Jill, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I don't know if you mean to be sharing your screen. Right now it isn't sharing if you want it to be.
Oh boy.
Sorry about that.
No, I appreciate that. Sorry, it was working before, so here we go again. Sorry about that, friends. Is that sharing now, Josh? Can you see that?
Yeah, now we can see it. It's perfect.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know before I got too far into this, because you don't want to just be looking at my face and seeing space. We've got some great statistics and pictures to share of St. Olaf. So this picture is Old Main, and this is our oldest building on campus. Great hill, sledding hill that students will take advantage of in the winter because we are in Minnesota, so we have some snow that happens and colder temps. But thanks again for letting me know that, Josh. Next slide, we talk about our academic experience. So there are some main things that are really important about St. Olaf and that really set us apart from other schools. And that is, one, being the best liberal arts college that we can be and providing a rigorous academic environment for students. Two, incorporating the global perspective into every student's experience, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. Three, being affiliated with the Lutheran Church and having this kind of spiritual presence on the campus. And then four, being this really strong, intensely residential community. So all four of those areas are really important to the college. Academically, we have over 85 different majors and programs to choose from. These include concentrations, which are similar to minors. A third of our students will major in more than one area. And I think even more than that will have one major along with a concentration or two. Typically, a student's time is split into thirds. So they're spending a third of their time in one major, a third of their time in general education requirements, which are broad in nature, and you will be exposed to lots of different subjects that you can focus on academically. And then a third of their time is open to fill how they choose, and that's how students are able to major in more than one area. We are on the 4-1-4 academic calendar. So a lot of colleges will have first and second semester, or they will be on trimesters. Our calendar is such that we've got first semester, and then during the month of January, students just take one class, and that's where that one comes in. We call it interim. So students are spending 4 weeks of time studying a semester's worth of material, kind of focusing pretty heavily on that one class for that 1 month. And then we have second semester after that. During that 1 month, that's a really nice time to focus or dive deep into a subject area that you might be interested in studying. It might be a time when you decide that you want to study abroad, because we have so many different programs that go abroad. There's lots of different opportunities and ways that you can spend that 1 month of time. A large percentage of our students take advantage of internships, research, or field experience. It's really important to the college that our students are having these high impact learning experiences while they are at St. Olaf. This not only enhances their academic experience, but gives them some exposure to the field that they're considering outside of the classroom, and also then just helps them on that academic journey and the journey of determining what it is they want to major in not only, but then what it is that they want to study or do after graduation. I love the last statistic on this slide, which mentions that we are 11th in baccalaureate college graduates who earn their doctoral degrees. This is among 800 plus colleges. So this is a very important thing to know about St. Olaf, in that I think it stresses the fact that we do provide a rigorous academic environment and foundation for our students. It means that you will be surrounded by other students who take their academics seriously, and you will be mentored. You will have lots of relationships with faculty members and other people on campus who are going to help you as you are progressing after graduation. It also shows that St. Olaf is highly regarded by graduate level programs. So even if you are not interested in getting a PhD, you're going to be surrounded by other students who are taking their academic experience seriously. As I mentioned, we are a very residential community, so we think that this also really contributes to meaningful relationships and the strong community sense that St. Olaf provides. 95% of our students live on campus again. This means that we have a lot of residence halls and a lot of different options for residence halls. There's 11 of them. Your first year, you would be in a residence hall in a residence hall with just all first-year students. So you'd be surrounded by other students who are transitioning to college as a first year and maybe don't know anybody on campus and maybe aren't certain of what this experience is going to be like. They have junior counselors or JCs that live in the residence halls with first-year students, and those JCs are instrumental in providing resources to students and emotional support, academic support. I always looked at my JC as kind of a big sister. She was they were great people for me to go to. Whatever my concern was, they were able to kind of guide me and direct me in the right direction. Outside of the residence halls, we have 19 honor houses and language houses. These are kind of just as they sound. So the language houses are such that if a student is interested in being committed to speaking the language that they're studying for the vast majority of the time, they can choose to live in the particular language house that they're studying, and they're surrounded by other students. There's typically a native speaker who's living in that house as well, and so that's an option for students who are studying a certain language. The honor houses are houses where students come together who have a shared belief or a shared passion for some area. Usually 10 to 14 students or so are coming together with this shared idea, and they are kind of carrying that out through the academic year, providing resources to the campus or different programming for the campus or the Northfield community. So those are some options for students to live, still considered on-campus living, but not in a residential hall setting. The last statistic talks about our food. We're ranked 7th in the nation for our food, which I know a lot of colleges talk about the quality of their food, which is an important factor for a lot of students as they're determining what college to choose. But it's worth noting that we only have one dining hall on campus. So a lot of small private colleges, big universities for sure, have multiple different dining halls. St. Olaf just has one. We think that this is awesome because it also contributes again to this community feeling. You are going to walk into the dining hall, you're going to know people who are in the dining hall, you'll be able to find friends if you go by yourself, you'll be able to find friends. That's what this picture is, and I love our dining hall. It's one of my favorite places on campus just because of the vibrant energy that is just like coming out of that space. It also is awesome because on the walls between the two floors, oftentimes there are these big posters that will display the different events and activities and speakers and things that are going on, things that our clubs and organizations are planning. So, it's a really great place to see that kind of residential piece come out in real life. This gives a little bit of a breakdown of the demographics of our student body. So again, we talk about the fact that we are very residential. Over the years, St. Olaf has obviously placed a great amount of importance on diversity on our campus, and that comes out in a lot of different ways. When I was a student here many years ago, we were much more predominantly Minnesota heavy. So we had, over 70% of our students were from Minnesota. That is not the case anymore. Less than half of our students come from Minnesota. So we are a very geographic diverse institution. 10% of our students are international students, and they're coming from 100 different countries. So inevitably, if you come to St. Olaf, you will be exposed to students who you'll be able to learn so much from, and they will enhance your experience just as you will be able to enhance other students' experiences as well. The other statistics give you a breakdown of the domestic students of color. So 22% of our student population are domestic students of color. 25% of our students identify as non-heterosexual, and 4% of our students identify as non-binary in their gender identification. So you can see that this is something that's important to St. Olaf. It's something that we are committed to and want to continue to be mindful of for years to come. This slide also shows a picture of all of the clubs and organizations. In the fall, we have what's called a co-curricular fair, where the 200 plus clubs and organizations that we have set up and do some tabling so that students can learn more about all the different clubs that are available and accessible to them. Our students do balance their time well, and maybe even find themselves overly involved, which I know is the case at a lot of different places, but over 200 clubs that students can take advantage of. As I mentioned before, the global perspective is something that is integral to a St. Olaf education. So we rank #1 in the nation for number of students who study abroad. So we have arguably the strongest study abroad program, not only in size, but in funding, in number of students who study abroad, in opportunities and places that students can go to. So as you can see, 75% of our students will study either internationally or domestically during their 4 years at St. Olaf. We have semester programs and interim programs, over 100 of them to choose from. So if you're interested in this, you will have no problem finding programs that will interest you. I think what's important to note about a St. Olaf education is that even for the times, so it's wonderful for students who do study abroad, but even for the times when you are on campus, or if you choose not to study abroad, you're still going to have that global engagement as part of your experience here, because 75% of the students are doing this, and professors are leading programs, and they are studying abroad. So all of those folks are coming back to campus and sharing those experiences, and that changes the dynamic of the classroom and the residence hall experiences and conversations that you're having. Also, our faculty are incredible at infusing this into their education as well. So I think while it's amazing and there are so many programs to take advantage of off campus, it's really important to note that this is just part of your time at St. Olaf, no matter if you are on campus or off campus. We have very strong study abroad ways to get involved outside of the classroom, and this includes our music programs, our fine and performing arts programs. So we are nationally accredited in all 4 areas of dance, music, theater, and art. Over a third of our students participate in music, and about half of those students are music majors. We have 5 theater productions, 2 dance companies, 2 art galleries. So it's important to note that the cultural experiences on campus are, there's a plethora of ways to get involved. Also, so many ways that you can go and support your friends and take advantage of these amazing performances by our students. So lots of ways to get involved. You also can major in these areas should you choose to. It's worth noting that you don't have to major in them in order to participate. Kind of the same idea with the athletics and recreation. We are, if you are a varsity athlete and you want to compete at the most competitive level at St. Olaf, you could certainly be involved in our varsity level programs. We're Division III, and we have 26 different varsity level sports. But if you just want to get involved and stay active and healthy in different ways, you can choose to either be part of a club team or as you can see, 75% of our students participate in intramurals. So no shortage of ways to be active in the recreational area. Plus we have a really great athletic facility that has an indoor track, weight facilities, aerobics machines, a climbing wall, all of those things. So our students, we're in Minnesota, so it gets cold and wintry. There's a lot of indoor activities and indoor resources for you to stay active during that time as well. As I mentioned in the beginning, St. Olaf is affiliated with the Lutheran Church, the ELCA. This comes out in a few different ways, or it plays out in a few different ways on campus. Because we are a strong liberal arts college, this will be part of the religious experience, or the general education curriculum for our students. So students at this time are required to take 2 religion courses, one their first year and one sometime before graduation. These are always the study of religion, and they're theological in nature, academic in nature. Never is it anybody telling you that you must believe this or you must believe that. But that said, if you are interested in getting involved in religious organizations, there's 11 different organizations to be a part of. There's Christian organizations and non-Christian organizations. There's also optional daily chapel, and it certainly has a bit of a Lutheran feel to it. However, there's a variety of different types of ways, different types of folks who will speak in chapel, music performances. So it can be a really nice time to reflect on your day or your week. Again, it is optional. I think the presence though of this, and the fact that we do not hide the fact that we are affiliated with a church, is that we have strong values, and the students who come here are typically those who have strong values, who are making good ethical decisions, who are willing to learn from one another and their religious backgrounds and traditions. They're willing to have these important conversations about faith and spirituality. We've got an amazing support system for our students as they are determining these high impact experiences that they may be interested in taking advantage of during their time here. So this is a slide talking about the Piper Center for Vocation and Career. It's important to note that career development advising begins your first year. So we don't want students to wait until their junior and senior year to take advantage of these opportunities. We want students to be taking advantage of them right away when they come to campus, so that they see what resources are available to them, so that they can do more than one internship if they choose to, or they can take advantage of some of the research opportunities. So really, we've got career mentors, we've got peer mentors, lots of different people who are employed by this department who are here to help students connect within these areas. They also provide lots of networking opportunities. They will organize on-campus recruitment from a wide variety of different backgrounds or areas. So volunteer corps, Fortune 500 companies, and everything in between come to campus and recruit our students. I am going really fast because I want to be sure that Cian has some time to talk. Application process is pretty normal. I feel that this information is all accessible on our website, so I'm going to flip through this pretty quickly so that we can get to a little bit more of the kind of heart of what makes St. Olaf, and that's our faculty and experience. And so early decision and early action are probably our 2 largest programs for application process. So consider early action or early decision by November 15th, and be in touch with us in admissions if you have specific questions about that. I do want to note that we meet 100% of families' level of need. This is pretty rare. Not very many colleges are committed to meeting 100% of need. We do put together financial aid awards that are made up of grants, scholarships, student loans, and student work awards. So you can see our comprehensive fee is just over $63,000, and our average financial aid award is over $45,000. The vast majority of our students do receive some financial assistance to come to St. Olaf. We do have merit scholarships, academic scholarships, and service leadership scholarships where students will automatically be considered as you apply for admission. There are fine arts scholarships in those 4 areas that I mentioned before: theater, art, dance, and music. And there is a separate application and audition process for those. So if you're interested in those, reach out and dig a little more deeply to learn what those application processes are like. That brings me to the end of a very fast, fast presentation. I wanted to, first of all, open it up for questions that folks might have, if you have any questions about the things that I've already talked about. But maybe what I'll do is, Cian, I would love for you to talk a little bit about your experience as a faculty member. Maybe talk a bit about the student interaction and the relationships that you've built with students over the years, how that plays out while they're on campus. And then you've been here 16 years, so you've seen a lot of students graduate. Do you keep in touch with them? Tell me more.
Well, wonderful, Jill, thank you. The thing I really love about my job is, so I teach management studies, and so I teach entrepreneurship, I teach marketing, I teach management. And the beauty of understanding these disciplines in a liberal arts context is I have a dance major next to a philosophy major next to a political science major, and the conversations are so incredibly rich, right? So we're focusing, having different lenses and looking at the same material, and so we can really immerse ourselves in a more interesting and compelling manner, because we really can discuss the issues broadly, right? And so it's just so amazing to have that opportunity at St. Olaf College. The students are engaged, and so even through COVID here, I'm teaching a hybrid class, and so I have teaching in person, and we're all social distance, and the students are wearing masks, and I'm wearing a mask. But the students are still really engaged in the material and willing to have good discussion, and you know, delightfully for me is I'm able to have some of our alumni come back and come as virtual guest speakers at the moment, because, you know, like again, as Jill had pointed out, we have excellent support as far as vocation and career is concerned, and so a lot of our students go off and be very successful, and so I'm able to give them a call and say, hey, you know, like, remember me, your professor, come back and speak to my class, and they'll say absolutely, and so there's a lot of interaction that way. So yeah, in answer to your question, Jill, yeah, I do keep in touch with a lot of my students. I've been very, very, very blessed to have gone on a number of study abroad programs with students. And once again, it's an opportunity to immerse yourselves in the environment that you're in. So the study abroad programs I've been on is the global semester, which is just a phenomenal experience for students, where we, at the time that I did it, we went to 8 different countries over 5 months. It's changed a little bit in terms of down to 4 months now, but we had 27 students that were traveling with us over that period of time. And so I'm in touch with all those students still, that I kind of like feel that they're like I'd like to say that I'm their auntie, but I think I'm probably more like their mother. But you know, and we've been to weddings and all that sort of good stuff of those students that have got married since then, because we did that in 2011. I've also done environmental sciences in Australia and New Zealand, and so we took again like 22 students to Australia and New Zealand and looked at environmental sciences. And so now the important thing with the study abroad programs is, you know, we're inclined to think that they're travel, but the beauty of these programs is you learning in country. And so, you know, for instance, with the global semester, we're learning religion in India, you know, and so you're going to go and visiting these ashrams. You're able to, you know, like do history in Egypt. I mean, this is nuts, people. And so then I have the lucky opportunity to sort of see these experiences through the eyes of my students and through their excitement and energy. And that's just what makes my job just awesome. And so for all of you folks who are coming to St. Olaf College, nudge, nudge, I also lead a interim to New Zealand every 2 years. And so that's January. And that's a good time to get out of Minnesota because cold, and we go down to New Zealand and we do a study of innovation in New Zealand, and we look at all the innovative new companies that are coming out of New Zealand. And so that's kind of a fun thing to do as well. But you know, the ability to live and travel with students really reminds me how wonderful our student body are and how ethical, as Jill said, but how community driven they are. And you have like a cohort of students where you're living and traveling together, and you know that they're like that when they're on campus, is that they're very supportive of each other, and it's just a really wonderful environment, smart, engaged students. So I'm very happy to be a professor at St. Olaf College. It's been a decision that I've really every day, you know, when I go up to the beautiful campus, as you've seen from these slides, it's just a stunning campus, and I'm just delighted to be working there. So I'm sure if you have an opportunity to come and visit, you would find the same thing. It's one of these things that when I first meet my students, my student advisors, advisees, I'll ask them, why St. Olaf, and they will say, it just felt right. And so, if you can, come and visit.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. We do have, during this COVID time, of course, we are not taking any visitors, but we have really enhanced our virtual opportunities. So not only do we have this type of experience, but we've got virtual info sessions, virtual interviews with admission staff, virtual tours where you're paired with an actual current live student as you're watching this video, and they are doing the virtual tour with you. For anybody who is maybe a little bit more local, if there are any Minnesotans or people from the surrounding states on this call, we do have a driving tour option as well. So there are some ways that you can experience St. Olaf virtually. We're doing our best to give you a sense of what the community is like through these virtual options. But there's a question that talks, I'm just going to read the question, and maybe Cian and I can both comment on this from different perspectives. But the community, global outlook, music, etc. really stand out, as does what you pointed out about the high percentage of students going on to graduate school. Can you speak more about students pursuing graduate school after St. Olaf? So I'll talk a little bit more of big picture. Maybe Cian, you can talk about specific instances or ways that you've advised or helped students through the process. So yes, we have a high percentage of students who go on to graduate school. I'd say it's about 25 to 30% who go on right after graduation, and then another 25 to 30% who go on sometime in their lives. So I think you find that that students who are here tend to be lifelong learners. They want to continue to educate themselves even after they have finished their bachelor's degree from St. Olaf. Students are going into such a wide variety of different areas. However, we do have some pre-professional programs that will kind of guide students a little bit more specifically into areas. So pre-medicine or pre-health is a pretty big area where students are coming into St. Olaf considering going into the pre-health profession or the healthcare field. There are advisors who are specifically here to help students through that process. There's pre-law, that kind of pre-business pathway. Trying to think of other ones. There's lots of other areas, but Cian,
a relatively new one is engineering. So we've got like a sort of pre-engineering.
Yes. So I think what's great to note is that, as we've both mentioned, the academic experience here is rigorous and it's very strong, and students take their academics seriously. The mentoring is incredible. So if you're questioning what area or what department you should major in, and then how to make yourself desirable as you're applying to these programs afterwards, your faculty members, the Piper Center, all of these folks are here to help you take advantage of these different things. But then I mentioned these 200 plus organizations that we have. A lot of times graduate programs don't want just singularly focused students in their programs. So I think they're excited not only to see that our students have done well academically and are challenged academically, but that they have lives outside of the classroom too. And I think you'll find that our students are so involved, and those clubs and organizations can be focused very specifically on the department of interest that they have academically, but they could also be something completely unrelated and just fun. So, but students are balancing that time pretty well. Cian, do you want to talk about kind of things
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the important thing for all our students is when like I was talking about my advisees, and so when students first arrive at St. Olaf College, they will be placed with an advisor, and part of our role is to help the students explore not only their time here at St. Olaf, but what they are thinking about in the future. And so we'll often if students have the idea of going on to graduate school, then there's lots and lots and lots of great opportunities for students to start to experience or try to experience whatever that vocation might be long term. And so as Jill said, we have like significant and strong internship programs so that students can like intern with an organization in which their area of interest. And so that's one way that students start to explore that life beyond college. But also we have what we call the Curie program, which is collaborative undergraduate research. And I've done a couple of Curie projects in the past where I work with 1 or 2 students and we do my research, right? And my research in particular is around experiential learning and the effectiveness of experiential learning. But in the natural sciences, we have a lot of really great bench lab Curie assignments. Then there's political science and so on. So students have the opportunity to do research at the undergraduate level. And so to be able to talk to a grad school about how you've already been involved in some research, and sometimes students will actually co-author with the professor, which is fabulous. So if you can apply to grad school and you've got a co-authored like article, you're slam dunk. They like, yeah, you come to my graduate school, my program.
We are here to answer any other questions that you might have. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other questions, seeing that you could be talking a little bit about. With regard to the study abroad programs, can you talk a little bit about whether or not students were specifically in your department of major, or what kind of background students had when they were doing that? And then there's a question about the global semester. Is it competitive to enter, and which countries are included? Could you cover both of those?
Yeah, so okay, so the global semester itself is extremely competitive at the moment, because actually we had a wonderful donation from an alum who has now made going on global semester tuition neutral. And so it's so awesome, because you don't have to pay any extra than you would be on campus. And so it does make it extremely competitive to get into that program. But typically what we'll do is we'll interview students and see about fit, really. Like what's the motivation for the students exploring that particular program, and so on. So when I did global semester, and it's changed since then, Jill, I can't remember the new countries, but the ones that we went to was India, Egypt, China, Hong Kong, Thailand. I'm going to forget some countries here. It's going to be terrible. Germany we went to start off with. So, and again, we went to a variety of different countries. One of the countries, the faculty member chooses, depending on what their course is. But as I say, that what they've done now with the global semester is, I know that they've added in South America as well. And so it's a little bit more of a global, as when I did it in 2011, it was a little bit more sort of South Asian. But anyway, what I'm going to say is, yeah, it can be competitive, but it's just fabulous. And so again, for all students, because we have such a robust study abroad, when I'm visiting with students on that first, like advising session, I'm sort of saying, okay, well, what are your goals with study abroad? Now, students can study abroad for a semester at any number of different other colleges around the world, or even in the US. And so really, sometimes students may want to select a study abroad program that is consistent with their major, but oftentimes students will try to explore something completely new in another country. And so that's an important and exciting part as well, because you can get, as Jill mentioned, we have general education credits, and oftentimes students will study abroad and get general education requirements. And so, with the liberal arts, we want you to be liberal in terms of your exploration of the different disciplines that you can be interested in. And so, as Jill said, we'll have, students maybe double majoring, but really, ultimately, your major is not necessarily your vocation. And that's the important part that I often say to my students is, it's about your passion, but your ability to add those experiences like study abroad, internships, research, that sort of thing that starts to build that time for after college, like how are you progressing towards your decisions on what you might do for lives of worth and service beyond St. Olaf College. I'm definitely open to answering any other questions you have. I know that we're coming down to the sort of like last three or so minutes, and we'd be delighted to answer any questions that you have. I know that it can be really overwhelming as a high schooler starting to think about college, and I actually have just have my own children going off to college, and I know that it can be a challenging decision, but when I talk to, like as I mentioned, any of my advisees, I think the important thing is have a good, robust criteria, and then try to find as much information about the school as possible. But visit with other students to find out how you like it. The thing I love to say to a lot of prospective students is that if you and again with COVID issues we can't really do this necessarily, but one thing that I always notice is you can walk across campus, and if you smile at anybody, they will smile back at you. Not so much now with the mask, but the students are very supportive of each other.
That's why I chose St. Olaf CN, because I walked across campus when I was a high schooler and people said hi to me. Like, they don't.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two quick questions. Does St. Olaf allow students to combine majors? Absolutely, yes. At least a third of our students double major, and they don't have to be related at all. So a third of your time is spent in one major, a third of your time is spent in the general education requirements, and then you have a third of your time to fill how you choose. And then the community feel and the sense of community at St. Olaf, and how strong is it? It seemed so when this person visited in the past. It's so incredibly strong, and it's one of those things that you can't necessarily describe super well, but you feel it when you're on campus. I think that it's partly because of the residential aspect of the community, so 95% of the students living here. People stay here on the weekends. Most of our students are coming from outside of this region, so it's not easy for them to just hop in their car and go home on the weekend. So they're taking advantage of the speakers and the concerts and hanging out with their friends on the weekend, catching up on homework. But they are really committed to this place, and you can see that in the alumni network as well. So Olis, we are called Olis, and Olis are passionate about this place, and they're excited about the experiences that they had. They want others to experience that as well. But everybody has a little bit of a different experience as well. So it's not that there's this one path or way that students feel when they're on campus, but I think that community sense just prevails in so many different ways.
Yeah, I often say to, again, prospective students, and again, I know that this is challenging at this time, but, I challenge them to go and sit by a student in one of our eating areas, just sit by any random student and ask questions, because, like the thing that, again, is beautiful about the St. Olaf community is it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, hey, yeah, or, if you didn't know where a building is, you can see that the students will help you. Yesterday I was walking across campus, and a student fell off her bike, and like three students came rushing up, made sure that she was okay, and I mean in a social distance way, but they were really doing a lovely job. So again, super supportive. But just going back to that last question about majors, is often students will add concentrations as well, which is why we have a management studies concentration, so you have a lot of opportunity to explore. So I think we're out of time.
I think we are at time. Yes, thank you so much for being here, everybody. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me in admissions or any of my colleagues as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to both of you for your presentation. That was really fantastic. And thank you to all of you who joined us. When you close your window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We really appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, like I mentioned before, this is just one of many sessions being offered as part of the CTCL virtual days, so sign up for others, and in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as recordings of all of the other presentations online at the same website where you registered. So thanks again to all of our attendees. Thank you to both of you, and everyone have a good evening.